Welcome to Petal Savvy. I'm Erin and today I'm going to show you how to make this gorgeous centerpiece. I'll show you the tools, supplies, the recipe, everything that you'll need to create a beautiful arrangement like this for your wedding or special event. For your supplies, you will need about a half a brick of Oasis foam. Here I use 2 smaller pieces to create my half a brick, soaked in a 6-inch loamy dish. Whichever vase is going to be holding your arrangement. A Lazy Susan comes in handy but is not required. Your shears and your tape to tape your foam down. So with our foam, like I said, I used about a half a brick of foam. I had smaller pieces left over from cutting larger pieces, so I put 2 together and I just did 1 little strip of tape across the top. And these are going to go into our beautiful compotes here, just like this. Now, if you are designing directly in your vase, you will not need a loamy dish. Loamy is just the brand. It's just a little dish that holds the foam. And I like to soak my foam before cutting it and putting it into the dish. So when you do cut these, you can just kind of estimate and hold up to the size of your container. So here you can see that it was about a half a brick. If we were doing it directly into our vessel, we would want to do a little bit bigger, probably do about 2/3 of the brick. So it really does depend on your vessel. For an arrangement this size, for a low centerpiece going on your table, you probably want to get something that's about 6 inches wide or a little narrower. That way it's not an overwhelming arrangement. Because your vessel is going to determine the overall size of your arrangement. For instance, you wouldn't want to have a giant arrangement coming out of this tiny thing, and you also wouldn't want to have something that's super compact in this vase. It's just not going to look right. You want it to come out a few inches from your vessel. We have our spray roses, our roses, Italian and Israeli ruscus, and hydrangea for the flowers. I'm going to begin with the greenery. And I'm going to cut it down into different segments. So with this, you can see right here we have 2 nice big leaves. I'm going to cut this, and this will be one of our little filler pieces. The top of it is really, really lush, but we don't need this to be super tall. This is just too tall, right? So we're going to cut it to about 5 or 6 inches. And I really like this piece. I'm just going to stick him right in the middle. So I'm going to prepare all of my greenery and cut it down to where I want it so that it's good for filling in the centerpiece. And then we're going to come in with a little bit of our greenery and alternate between greenery and floral. Okay, so now I have this big fluffy pile of greenery, and I'm going to go in, and we have our center green here. Get out of the way so you can see. And we're just going to kind of do like the compass points. We're going to do north, south, east, and west. And we're just going to start filling in first with our Israeli ruscus, which is a little fat. So you can see this will be kind of our guidelines for everything else. I'm going to fill in a little bit with some Italian ruscus, and then I'm going to come in with our hydrangea because they are our biggest flower. So here we have just kind of the outline of our arrangement in greenery. I'm going to come back in and do our hydrangea in 3 points, kind of like a triangle. When you insert your stems into the foam, you want to put it in about 2 inches or so. And you want to make sure that it's toward the center of the foam and not hitting the bottom of the dish. If it hits the bottom of the dish, it may not be able to drink and your flowers will die. Hydrangea is famous for dying if it's not properly hydrated. So when you're working with hydrangea, you want to make sure that it is in the water source. very important. So I'm going to spin this around a little bit so you can see. Obviously there are some gaps, and that's okay because we have our big beautiful roses to kind of fill in all of the gaps. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to come in with our roses. I am going to adjust this hydrangea. There we go. So it's a little more evenly spaced. So I'm going to come in just like so. Again, it's important when you come in with your flowers to make sure that they are in the foam, not hitting through the bottom. You want to do the same thing with the roses and the spray roses. We want to make sure that we cover up all of our foam so that you don't see any of that mechanic, and that's where our greenery is going to come back in after we have all of our flowers into the arrangement. Okay, so now we have all of our flowers and greenery into our arrangement. We just want to give it one last look and make sure that all of our foam is covered. While I was designing, I pushed the hydrangea in a little farther, making sure that it's not hitting the bottom, because I wanted to bring it in, make it a little tighter, so those roses would pop up a little bit more. Thank you for joining me on this tutorial on how to create a beautiful garden centerpiece for your special event. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe, and visit us at petalsavvy.com.